Okay. Good afternoon,
Yes.
Bilal. Yeah, in the morning session, we have talked about the probability and Bayesian learning. In this session, we will talk about hidden Markov models. These hidden Markov models are ever-present tool for modeling sequential data. So, almost all the current present speech recognition systems use this hidden Markov models, and there are various other applications of this hidden Markov models, um, such as computational molecular biology. In data compression techniques, also we can use also for handwritten character recognition, dynamic handwritten character recognition. Also we can use also for intrusion detection and various other artificial intelligence and pattern recognition applications. We can use this hidden Markov model. So, in this session, we'll talk about Markov models first and the Markov assumptions, and then we'll discuss hidden Markov models and with examples. Also, we'll look at one of the applications of this hidden Markov model, that is a speech recognition system. So, let's talk about weather. Weather. Um, And so we have three types of weather. Let's say sunny, rainy, and cloudy. Uh, and cloudy and foggy are used interchangeably in the coming slides. So you can just replace with cloudy with foggy whenever it is required. So we are talking about weather prediction. Weather prediction is all about trying to guess what the weather will be like tomorrow based on history of the observations of the weather. So there are various weather prediction models. Weather basically depends on many factors like the heat map, or the pressure map, the directions of the wind, um, also based on the sea ice, and there are various other factors that the weather depends on. We are not talking about all those models that consider various factors influence the weather. We are just trying to model this weather using the previous day's weather. So we use the sequence data here rather than all such um, climate factors into account, rather than taking all such climate factors into account. So the weather prediction that we are talking about here is we are trying to guess whether what would be the weather based on the history of observations of the weather. And so we have given history of observations like what was yesterday's weather, what was day before yesterday's weather, and so on. So based on that, we are asked to predict what could be the weather tomorrow. So we will collect statistics on the weather was like today based on what the weather was like yesterday, the day before, and so forth. So here, this is the weather model that we are talking about. That is probability of weather on the nth day given probability given weather on n minus one day, n minus two day, and so on first day. So we have given n minus one information about n minus one days, and we are asked to predict the weather for the nth day. So this is the weather model that we are talking about. So for instance, um, say 4 days model where we want to predict the fourth day's weather. That is, what is the probability that the fourth day's weather is rainy? Given that third day it was cloudy and the second day it was sunny and first day it was sunny. So given sunny, cloudy as a sequence of weather days, what is the probability that the fourth day would be rainy? So this is the kind of model that we are talking about here. So, all right, this is we can find this is the estimation of probability of nth day's weather given sequence of n minus one days weather. But what's the problem here? The problem here is that in order to find the probability of Qn based on a sequence of n minus 1 days, say for example you have n is equal to 5 here. So suppose n equal to 5. So and we have three types of weather: sunny, cloudy, and rain. So with 5 days, if you take, there are various possibilities. All 5 days could be sunny, all 5 days could be rainy, or all 5 days could be cloudy, or first 2 days sunny, next 3 days cloudy. So there are various combinations possible, right, with these three values and five different days. So you have to collect statistics for all these combinations. So all such combinations is 3 power 5, which is 243. So if your n is 100, it is 3 power 100 fastest list. So it's practically not possible to collect all such statistics and collect and store all such statistics. So this is the problem that is faced by this model of determining probability of nth base weather given sequence of this. So all such possibilities, storing all such possible statistics is impossible. So therefore, we make a simplifying assumption that we call as Markov assumption. So what this Markov assumption says is that the nth day's weather only depends on the previous day's weather. This is an assumption. Though it may be a true, it may not be a true. It is an assumption. That is the Markov's assumption. So we say that nth day's weather or the nth state only depends on its the previous state, that is n minus 1 state. So in our example of weather, nth day's weather depends on only n minus 1 day's weather, only the previous day's weather. So that's the assumption that we are making. This we call as the first order Markov assumption. So there is other assumption also, that kth order Markov assumptions, in which we assume that the weather of today depends on previous k days, or in other words, the present state depends on previous k states. So probability of Qn given Qn minus 1 to Q1 is equivalent to probability of Qn given Qn minus 1 to Qn minus k, because the assumption is it doesn't depend on the other states. So we can just simply ignore the other states. N minus k minus 1 to n1 state, you can simply ignore. So we can express the joint probability using this Markov assumption. It, like this: probability of Q1 to Qn is equivalent to product over I equal to 1 to n probability of Qi given Qi minus 1. So if in the previous case, if you remember the first session, we have discussed about the chain rule, that probability of Q1 to Qn is equivalent to probability of Q1 times probability of Q2 given Q1 times probability of Q3 given Q2 Q1, so on probability of Qn given Qn minus 1 to Q1. So using the chain rule, you had to determine all those probabilities. But with Markov assumption, you simplified that all process, and it just depends on the previous state. So now it is equivalent to probability of Qi given Qi minus 1 for all I equal to 1 to n. So with this assumption, we only need 3 square, that is 9 number of numbers, to characterize the probabilities of all the sequences that we have discussed in the previous slide. So without this assumption, you had to require 243 number of past histories. With this assumption, you just require 9 histories. So what is the tomorrow's weather based on today's weather? So probability of transmitting the day from sunny to sunny is 0. I forgot to tell you that we also assumed that the weather loss throughout the day. It may not be a valid assumption, but for simplicity, we assumed that the weather loss throughout the day. Means that if particular day is sunny, it is sunny throughout the day. Not half of the day is sunny, half of the day is rainy. So we assume that the weather lasts throughout the day. So based on this, today's weather is sunny and tomorrow's weather is sunny. Probability of that happening is 0.8. These are all the statistics that we have collected from the data. So sunny to rainy transmission is 0.05, sunny to cloudy is 0.15, and so on. Cloudy to cloudy transmission is 0.5. So these are the probability statistics that we have obtained from from observations about the previous days. So this assumption may or may not be a valid assumption depending on the situation, but we use this to simplify the situations, as I've told you previously. So now we have these 9 probabilities. Using this, we have to determine future weather conditions based on the past history of the weather. I'm talking about weather, but it is general. You want to determine nth state nth state based on n minus 1 states. Okay, because I'm talking about weather example, I'm just taking weather into the account.
One question is how to you can use the value of A.
My voice is not clear. You can text it.
I have
Sir, he's
mentioned
asking how to choose the value of k.
How to choose
The
K.
value of k in the previous slide.
Ha. This
He's
is
asking how to
empirical.
select the value.
You can try if you want. You can try. You see, most of the models they use only k equal to the one. That is first order Markov assumption only they use. But based on the domain, if you feel like I mean increasing the value of k, that is if you feel that nth state depends on more number of previous states, not just the previous state, you can increase that. If you have a domain knowledge, you can directly choose. Otherwise, you can experiment with the different values of k and choose the best value for k. That is empirical. It means that you try for different values of k and select the one which gives the better results for you, if you have no idea about and you just want to experiment. And if you have a domain knowledge and if you are sure about that this state depends on previous three states or whatever, you can directly select the k value. So these are the so let's come to the Markov models. We can use these probabilities to draw a probabilistic finite state automation just to visualization purpose. For the weather domains, we have three states, like we have already mentioned: sunny, rainy, and cloudy. Here, foggy is we can replace it with a cloudy. So we, as I've told you, that foggy and cloudy are used interchangeably. And every day you would transition to the I mean, you transition, you follow the transition from new state based on the probabilities in the table. So sunny to sunny it is 0.8, sunny to foggy it is 0.15, foggy to sunny it is 0.2, and these are all the transition probabilities. We call it as a transition probabilities from one state to the another state. Probability of transition, we can transition from one state to the another state. So what is it? Let's see few questions based on this model. So given that today is sunny, what is the probability that tomorrow is sunny and the day after is sunny? So this is the question that we would like to answer. Given that today's is sunny, what is the probability that tomorrow is sunny and the day after is rainy? So it is asking for the next 2 days weather given today's weather. So how do you determine the next 2 days weather based on today's weather? So here you are asking a question of probability of Q3 equal to rainy, comma Q2 equal to sunny. This is what we would like to determine. What we are given is that Q1 equal to sunny. So the first state is sunny. We would like to determine the weather for the next 2 days. So how do you do that? And what are the dependencies here based on our assumption? So here probability of Q3 equal to rainy, Q2 equal to sunny, given Q1 equal to sunny, which is equivalent to Q3's weather, which is actually depends on the previous 2 days weather. Q2 sunny, Q1 sunny times probability of Q2 equal to sunny given Q1 equal to sunny. Here we are not multiplying it with probability of Q1 equal to sunny because we have already given that the first day it is sunny. We have already observed it. Means that probability of Q1 equal to sunny is equivalent to 1. So therefore we are not multiplying it with probability of Q1 equal to sunny. So this is the calculation that we have to made actually without Markov assumption. But with Markov assumption, what would be this value? Which is equivalent to probability. We assume with Markov, we assume that any day's weather depends on only the previous day's weather. So the first probability can be rewritten as probability of Q3 equal to rainy given Q2 equal to sunny. So we are not considering Q1, that is state one's or day one's weather, because based on the assumption. So we cut it down and wrote the probability of Q3 equal to rainy given Q2 equal to sunny times probability of Q2 equal to sunny given Q1. This is anyway only one one state. So this is equivalent to this we have, right? Probability of Q3 transition from sunny to rainy is 0.05, and transmission probability from sunny to sunny is 0.8. That we can see in the table or the state diagram that we have given in the previous slide. So these probabilities are the transmission probabilities that can be obtained directly or given to us. So this is equivalent to 0.04. So the probability of next 2 days weather, I mean in the sequence sunny and rainy is given. Today's weather is sunny is which 0.04. So this is how you calculate this. Next, another question. Given that
Sir, there is a
today's
question in the chat window. You please
Huh?
see. There is a question in the chat window.
Okay, I'll have to switch. Is it? I mean, if it is not affecting the presentation, we can take these questions towards the end.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Is Q3 is having previous weather information? Last slide, please. Q3 is having previous days information. Hey, see, so we would like to determine the sequence of things happening. So we would like to determine what is the probability that next day is sunny and day after is rainy. So this is the sequence that we would like to determine. So if that sequence has to happen, sunny has to, rainy should precede the sunny. So in that way, yeah, we have the information that is the information that we would like to determine. And this is the previous slide that you are asking about, right? Yeah. Any further question? Let me see. No question. Okay, fine. So given that today's is cloudy, what is the probability that it will be rainy 2 days from now? So you're not asking about the sequence now. You know that what is today weather, that is cloudy, and you're asking about day after tomorrow's weather. You're not concerned about tomorrow's weather. It can be anything. It doesn't matter to you. Tomorrow could be rainy, or tomorrow could be cloudy, tomorrow could be sunny. It doesn't matter to you. You're only bothered about what is day after tomorrow's weather, or what is the probability that day after tomorrow's weather is rainy. So here, if you see, in between one day information is missing. Today's weather you know, cloudy, and you want to estimate the probability that day after tomorrow's weather is rainy. So there are different paths possible from this cloudy to rainy, because one more day is in between, right? So it could be cloudy, sunny, rainy, or cloudy, rainy, or cloudy, rainy. So there are different paths possible to reach from cloudy to rainy. So there are three ways to get from cloudy today to rainy 2 days from now. So those are cloudy, rainy, rainy, or cloudy, sunny, rainy. These are the different paths. So you can estimate all these probabilities and sum over these three paths. So what is the probability that Q3 is equivalent to rainy and Q1 given Q1 equivalent to cloudy? So which is equivalent to probability of Q3 equal to R, Q2 equal to C, given Q1 equal to C, plus probability that Q3 equal to R, Q2 equal to R is the rainy, C is the cloudy. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell. So R here represents the rainy, S here represents the sunny, C here represents cloudy. So you sum over all these three parts and you would get. So the way that you determine this Q3 equal to R, Q2 equal to C, given Q1 equal to C, that we have already seen in the previous slide. So this is equivalent to probability of Q3 equal to R given Q2 equal to C, because our assumption says that weather depends only on the previous day. So you just cut down to that Q2 equal to C times probability of Q2 equal to C times Q1 equal to C, plus probability of Q3 equal to R, Q2 equal to R, times probability of Q2 equal to R given Q1 equal to C, and so on. and this would be equivalent to 0.34. So this is how you can find the weather day after tomorrow based on today's weather. You sum over all three possible paths and see if you have more number of ways reaching the any more than 3 states, then you have to sum up all those paths. All right, fine. So far we have seen Markov models, and based on Markov assumptions, how we calculated different probabilities. So now we are the topic of our main topic, that is Hungarian Markov models. So what makes hidden Markov models here? So well, suppose you are locked in a room for several days, and you are asked about the weather outside. You are locked in a room and you have no idea about what would be the weather outside for these several days, and you are asked about the weather outside. The only piece of information or the evidence that you have is whether the person who is coming into your room carrying your daily meals is carrying an umbrella or not. So one caretaker is coming to your room daily. Caretaker is coming and he brings umbrella, or he may not bring umbrella. He may bring, he may not bring umbrella. So that is the only piece of evidence that you have to determine the weather outside. Okay. So let's suppose the following probabilities. Probability of this caretaker bringing an umbrella, that is probability. Let's say this variable is xi. This observation about umbrella, your observation variable, you are observing some variable, that is xi, that is whether caretaker brings an umbrella or not. If he brings, that is true. If he doesn't bring, then it is false. So probability of an umbrella, that is probability of xi equal to true, is 0.1 on a sunny day, and 0.8 on a rainy day, and 0.3 on a cloudy day. So these are the probabilities that you have in hand. Okay. So these are the prior probabilities that you have in hand. So with this information, how can you determine the probability? How can you determine the weather outside based on these observations? So now we have to factor in the fact that the weather is hidden from you. The actual weather is hidden from you. The only evidence that you have is this umbrella, and this umbrella takes two values, yes or no, or true or false. True indicates umbrella, he brought umbrella. False indicates he did not bring umbrella. So these two values it takes. In general, it may take many values. This in this example of umbrella, it is taking two values, but in general, the observation variable can take any number of values. So finding the probability of certain weather, Qi belongs to sunny, rainy, or cloudy. It could be any of these three, right? Sunny or rainy or cloudy can only be based on the observations of xi. With xi equal to 2 if the caretaker brought an umbrella on day I, and xi equal to false if the caretaker did not bring an umbrella. So this conditional probability can be rewritten using the Bayesian rule. You remember the Bayesian rule that we have discussed in the previous two sessions. So probability of Qi, that is ith day's weather given our observation about the umbrella, that is xi on the ith day, that is equivalent to, using the Bayesian rule, probability of xi given Qi times probability of Qi given probability of divided by probability of xi. This is the Bayesian rule that we already know about this. So this is for a single day we have written this Bayesian rule, but we would like to determine it for the sequence of n days, isn't it? So for n days and weather sequences, Q equal to Q1 to Qn, and umbrella sequences x equal to x1 to xn. So weather sequence is what? If it is for 3 days, for example, it could be sunny, rainy, cloudy, or sunny, sunny, cloudy. This is the sequence, weather sequence. So given the for n days, weather sequence Q and umbrella sequence is, he may bring umbrella, may not bring umbrella. So there are various possibilities: true, 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 false, or true, false, false, and various other possibilities. So that sequence, probability of q1 to qn given x1 to xn, is using the same formula. We can written it as probability of x1 to xn given q1 to qn. The whole sequence we are writing. Just note that probability of q1 to qn. So this is this. It's simple. Probability of capital Q given capital X is equivalent to probability of capital X given capital Q times probability of capital Q divided by probability of capital X. That's what we have written. Directly I have written. I should have written this the first with the annotations and then substituted that. But it's okay. I hope you understood. Which is equivalent to, see, for example, using the Markov assumption. We just said that this, for example, you see probability of q1 to qn. This we have already determined here, right? Which using the Markov assumption. Oh, let's try. Here. The probability of q1 to qn is equivalent to product over I equal to 1 to n probability of q1 to qn minus 1 using the Markov assumption. So you can just substitute this value in place of probability of q1 to qn. So that we have substituted here. Similarly, probability of x1 to xn given q1 to qn, we just assume that xi is independent of all xi and qj for j not equal to I. So, so we assume that today's today's observation about the umbrella only depends on today's weather, not the previous day's weather or day before day's weather. So it is just product over probability of xi given qi. So because it is independent of all the other days. So today's observation is dependent on today's weather only, not the other day's weather. So it is just product over probability of xi given qi. Also, we assume that our observation about this umbrella independent. So it doesn't depend, I mean, today's observation on umbrella doesn't depend on yesterday's observation. So that is why I just take product over all the different observations, that is product over probability of xi in the denominator. So this is finally for the n day sequence, probability of weather sequence q1 to qn given the observation sequence x1 to xn. So this is for n days. So we want to draw conclusions about weather outside from observations on umbrella. So we can therefore omit the probability of seeing umbrella. So probability of x1 to xn can be, drop some message. Anyone have doubt? Or? Okay, it's not. Okay. So we get a measure which is proportional to the probability, which is we call likelihood. We just remove this probability of x1 to xn in the denominator, which because this is proportional to numerator. The whole thing is proportional to the numerator, and we are calling this as likelihood. So probability of q1 to qn given x1 to xn is proportional to the likelihood of q1 to qn given x1 to xn. We just remove the denominator here because this quantity is proportional to the quantity given in the previous slide, and we substitute the same things in place of probability of x1 to xn given q1 to qn, which is equivalent to product over by probability of xi given qi, and probability of q1 to qn is equivalent to product over probability of qi given qi minus 1. So let's solve some examples based on that. Suppose the day you were logged in, it was sunny, and the next day caretaker carried an umbrella. What would be the weather on the second day? So this is the example that we would like to solve. Anyone have an answer for this? You can ping me on this text messages. Suppose if somebody solves this quickly. So suppose The day you are logged in, it was sunny. The next day, the caretaker carried an umbrella. What would be the weather on the second day? So this is the question that we would like to answer. So we calculate the likelihood for the second day to be sunny, rainy, and cloudy. So because there are three possibilities, you calculate probability or the likelihood for each and every possibility. What is the likelihood that it is sunny, and what is the likelihood that it is rainy, and what is the likelihood that it is cloudy. So once you calculate likelihood for each and every possible weather, you give the weather with the highest likelihood. For example, if sunny is the highest likelihood, then you predict it as sunny. So how do you do that? Let's see. So first we estimate the likelihood that it is sunny. So likelihood that Q2, that is second day's weather, is sunny, given, we are already given the day you are logged in, it was sunny. So the first day it was sunny. And you also know that the second day's, based on your observation about your caretaker, he carried an umbrella. So therefore x2 equivalent to true. So which is equivalent to, using the formulas given in the previous slide, probability of x2 equal to true given q2 equal to sunny times probability of q2 equal to sunny given q1 equal to sunny. So therefore it is equivalent to 0.1 times 0.8, which is equivalent to 0.08. So using the same thing, can you calculate the likelihood that weather is likelihood that q2 equivalent to cloudy, and tell me in the text message. Let me see how many of you will do it. And also you can estimate the likelihood that q2 equivalent to rainy. So for these three things, two more things are there, rainy and cloudy. Can you calculate the likelihood? No one? Surprising? Can we get probability? Okay, here. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Sorry. No. Here. You can take a photo. I'll go to that slide. And you can also capture this. So what is the likelihood that Q2 equal to rainy, given that Q1 equal to sunny and X2 equal to true, which is equivalent to probability that X2 equal to true given Q2 equal to rainy times probability of Q2 equal to rainy given Q1 equal to sunny, which is 0.04. Similarly, I calculate the probabilities for Q2 equal to cloudy also, likelihood that Q2 equal to cloudy, which is equivalent to 0.045. Now I calculate likelihood for each and every possible weather, that Q2 equal to sunny, Q2 equal to rainy, Q2 equal to cloudy, and I've got maximum likelihood for sunny, so I can predict it as sunny. The second day's weather, I can predict it as sunny. So this is how I find weather. That is how I forecast weather based on my observations about whether caretaker brought an umbrella or not. So it is more likely that on the second day the weather was sunny. For example 2, let's solve this. Suppose you do not know how the weather was when you were logged in. So You do not know what was the weather when you were logged in. So caretaker always comes with umbrella for 3 days. So 3 days umbrella is true. So the observed value is true. Xi is true for all 3 days. Starting from the day you were logged in. Calculate the likelihood for the weather on these 3 days to have been Q1 equal to sunny, Q2 equal to cloudy, Q3 equal to sunny. So we are interested in finding a particular sequence of weather. That is, first day is sunny, second day is cloudy, and third day again sunny. So this is the sequence of weather that we are interested in. What is the probability of this sequence of weather happening? That we are interested in estimating that. So as we do not know the first day's weather, we assume that the 3 weather situations are equiprobable. So we do not know what is the probability of weather on the first day. So we assume that every weather is equiprobable. If every weather is equiprobable, probability that the first day is sunny is equivalent to 1 by 3, because we have 3 possibilities. With equiprobable assumption, we have probability of Q1 equal to sunny is 1 by 3, probability of Q1 equal to cloudy is 1 by 3, probability of Q1 equal to rainy is 1 by 3. So we are only, because we only require this Q1 equal to sunny, let's take that probability of Q1 equal to sunny, that is equivalent to 1 by 3. So now what we are interested in determining, what is the likelihood that Q1 equal to sunny, Q2 equal to cloudy, Q3 equal to sunny. Okay, this is what we are interested in, the particular sequence, and what we are given this particular sequence of observations. First day, caretaker did not bring umbrella. Is it? Caretaker always comes with umbrella for 3 days. Oh, this should be true then. Okay, let's say that caretaker did not bring umbrella for 3 days. Okay, so that is the problem. You can modify this example. So because I did not say and falsely calculated probably. But anyway, this you can change the question so that it is correct. Question is that caretaker did not bring umbrella for all 3 days. So now x1 equal to false, x2 equal to false, and x3 equal to false. So which is equivalent to probability of x1 equal to false given q1 equal to s, and probability of x2 equal to false given q2 equal to cloudy, because you see that particular day's observation only depends on that day's weather. It doesn't depend on the previous day's weather or the next day's weather. So that's why we have these probabilities. And probability of x3 equal to false given q3 equal to s. Also, probability of q1 equal to s, probability of this sequence happening, because we are not sure about this probability. Probability of q1 equal to s, q2 equal to c, q3 equal to s. So we also have to multiply the probability of that particular sequence happens. So which is equivalent to probability of q1 equal to s, which is 1 by 3 that we have already seen, times probability of q2 equal to c given q1 equal to s, times probability of q3 equal to s given q2 equal to c. Also note that today's weather depends on only yesterday's weather. That is why you have taken this only previous day's weather into account, though you have various other alternatives. So if you multiply all these, you have probability or likelihood of this estimation of the sequence q1 equal to sunny, q2 equal to cloudy, q3 equal to sunny is equivalent to 0.0057. So this is how you calculate. So before going to this slide, let me say 2 things to you. That we have transmission probabilities. Isn't it? That what is the probability that weather transmits from sunny to cloudy, or sunny to sunny, or sunny to rainy, whatever. So we have 9 probabilities that we are calling as transmission probabilities. We also have probability that x2 equal to or xi equal to a certain value given qi is equal to certain value. Isn't it? This we call emission probabilities. What is the probability that x2 equal to false? It means that no umbrella given q2 equal to cloudy. So this is what we are mentioning, right? This is emission probability we call. The probability of q3 given this one, say for example, Q3 given as Q2 equal to C, this is the transmission probability, and this is the emission probability. Probability of X2 given F given Q2 equal to C. This is the emission probability. So we have transmission probabilities, we have emission probabilities, we also have initial probabilities, that is probability of Q1 equal to S. So we have all these three probabilities. So trellis diagram can be used to visualize the likelihood calculations of HMM. So which is this particular trellis diagram is for the example 2 that we just have given in the previous slide for this example. So this is probability of X1 equivalent to F given Q1 equivalent to Sunny, which is 0.9 that we have seen in the previous slide. See this 0.9. This one. Similarly, probability that X2 equal to false given that Q2 equivalent to cloudy. Similarly, B sunny comma no umbrella, that is probability that X3 equivalent to false given Q3 equivalent to sunny, which is equivalent to 0.9. And these are the transmission probabilities from sunny to cloudy here and cloudy to sunny here. So sunny to cloudy, the transmission probability is 0.15. Similarly, from cloudy to sunny, the transmission probability is 0.2. So just multiply all these probabilities multiplied by 1 by 3, which is probability that Q1 equivalent to sunny. You would get probability that Q2 equivalent to probability that Q1 equivalent to sunny, Q2 equivalent to cloudy, and Q3 equivalent to sunny given X1 equal to F, X2 equal to F, and X3 equal to F. So this is an easy way of visualizing the likelihood calculations that we have done in the previous slide. So let's look at the notations to have a generalized view of this HMM model. So far we have talked about just weather, and it's time to generalize the model, hidden Markov model. For that we have to go through certain notations first, then we will generalize the model. So we have some set of states S equal to S1 to Sn, and we have set of parameters, we call it as theta, that is phi comma a comma b. So some message. Attendance. Okay. So we have prior probabilities, that is probability that QA equal to SI. That what we have seen, the probability that the first day is sunny. That is the prior probability that we are indicating with the phi I. So probability that ith day's weather is SI is indicated with phi I. So these are the prior probabilities. Probability of SI being the first state of a state sequence. First state of a state sequence. So the transmission probabilities, which we indicate with A, are the probabilities to go from state I to state J. So Aij is a particular entry, Aij, that we have seen in the table, right? Aij is equivalent to probability of Qt plus 1 is equivalent to Sj and Qt equal to Si. That is transmission from state Si to state Sj. The probability of transmitting from state Si to state Sj is indicated with Aij. And all these probabilities together, the matrix is indicated with capital A. These are the transmission probabilities. Emission probabilities characterize the likelihood of certain observation if the model is in state Si. That is what we have seen. Probability that Xi equal to false given Qi equal to some cloudy. So which is equivalent to probability of, in general notations, probability that Xt equal to Vk given Qt equal to Si. So which we indicate with Bik. So this is the whole set of observations, which is in our case it is 2 by 3, 3 by 2. 3 by 2. This is also a matrix of 3 by 2 in a weather model, but it can be m by n, where m is the number of states, n is the number of observations. So given this state information, given this data, that is set of states and set of parameters, there are few useful formulas to calculate different probabilities. So suppose if we are interested in determining the probability of state sequence, like we have determined in one example, what is the probability that Q1 equal to sunny, Q2 equal to cloudy, and Q3 equal to sunny. So that is the example that we have seen, right? So for that example, if you are interested in probability of state sequence, the probability of state sequence Q equal to Q1 to Qn coming from HMM with parameters theta corresponding to the transition probabilities is equivalent to probability that the first state is Q1, that is pi Q1, times transmission probability from AQ1 to AQ2, and transmission probability from AQ2 to AQ3, transmission probability from AQN to AQN. There is a small problem with this notation. Just now I have realized it. That is, we have indicated with Aij, isn't it? So it is just AQ1 comma Q2. It's not that AQ1 times AQ2. So just note that there is a small problem here. So I mean, maybe I just edit the one and we can. So this is like is very slow. Okay, I started it. With this, according to the notation, it is this. So accordingly, the other things also will change. So this is how we calculate. So probability of a particular state sequence. So the example for this is probability of Q1 equal to sunny, Q2 equal to sunny, and Q3 equal to rainy. So in order to determine that, this is equivalent to probability of Q1 equal to sunny times probability of Q1 equal to sunny times probability of Q2 equal to sunny given Q1 equal to sunny times probability of Q3 equal to rainy given probability given Q2 equal to sunny. So that is how you determine this. This is the generalized formula. And another formula is to determine the likelihood of an observation sequence. In the previous formula, we have determined the observation of a state sequence. Now we would like to determine the likelihood of an observation sequence, that is x equivalent to x1 to xn given a state sequence. So what is the probability of capital X given q comma theta? So which is equivalent to a particular observation sequence, which is equivalent to PQI x1, BQ2 x2, so on, BQN xn. So we just using the emission probabilities in this case. So it is just the product of emission probabilities computed along the considered path. So probability of x1 equal to true. Example for this I am just giving. x2 equal to false and x3 equal to true given q1 equal to sunny, q2 equal to sunny, q3 equal to right. And joint likelihood of an observation sequence x and a path q, that is state sequence q, it is the probability that x and q occur simultaneously. What is the probability that a particular observation sequence and a particular state sequence occur simultaneously? So occur simultaneously. So that is written as probability of x comma q given, probability of x comma q given theta, which is equivalent to probability of x comma x given q comma theta times probability of q given theta. So which we already know how to determine probability of x given q comma theta, and we also know how to determine probability of Q given theta. So example for this could be, what is the probability of Q1 to Q3 being sunny, sunny, rainy, and X1 to Xn to be true, false, true. And last, likelihood of a sequence X with respect to a hidden Markov model with the parameters theta can be expanded as probability that a particular sequence X happen with respect to a parameters theta and Q also is equivalent to sum over, because you have no idea about the Q, you could sum it over all possible values of Q. That is sum over probability of X comma Q over given theta. So it is the sum of joint likelihood of the sequence over all possible state sequences Q allowed by the model. So this is the example. So to summarize, HMM provides solution for three fundamental problems, that is evaluation problem, decoding problem, and learning parameters. The evaluation problem could be given the model A, B, pi, that is theta, and a sequence of observations O. We are interested in finding a sequence of observations given A, B, and pi. That is emission probabilities, transmission probabilities, and prior probabilities. Given all these probabilities, we are interested in observing a particular, we are interested in finding a probability or likelihood of a particular sequence of observations. So here we want to determine a score for the observation sequence O with respect to a given model. Model is this set of all the probabilities. And decoding problem, given this theta, that is A, B, and pi, and an observation sequence O, find an optimal state sequence for the underlying Markov process. Optimal state sequence for the underlying Markov process. That is, you are interested in finding a particular optimal state sequence Q for the underlying Markov process with this parameters A, B, pi, and an observation sequence O. You already know that probability of computing a particular state sequence Q given observation sequence and these parameters. You already know, you already have idea about that. But there are multiple sequences possible. Which is the optimal sequence? For a particular sequence, you know how to compute this likelihood. But what is the best sequence? Whether sunny, cloudy is the best sequence, or sunny, rainy is the best sequence. To determine that, there are various algorithms, Webberton algorithm also there. That brute force way of doing it is, for each and every possible sequence, you compute the likelihood and determine the best sequence out of that. But to avoid unnecessary computations, there is a dynamic programming approach which was designed by someone to compute this optimal state sequence without having to compute all the possible state sequences, likelihood of all the possible state sequences. And the third problem is learning parameters. So far we have not seen that kind of problem, but another kind of problem could be, we have given observation sequence, also dimensions n and m. That is n by n we require for that transmission probabilities, right? And n by m for emission probabilities. So we have given the dimensions and observation sequence. What we have to find is that these parameters, actual probabilities we have to find that maximize the probability of particular observation sequence. So we are interested in learning parameters, this A, B, and pi, that maximizes probability of particular observation sequence. So this can be viewed as a training model to best fit the observed data. Alternatively, we can view this as a hill climb on the parameter space represented by A, B, and pi. So it's like you're starting with some parameters initially, A, B, and pi, and you're trying to climb this hill, or means that you are trying to modify these parameters in such a way that you would reach to your optimal sequence, optimal observation sequence O. So that's about different problems that we can solve using hidden Markov models. And this is the application in speech recognition system. Since speech has a temporal structure, isn't it? Temporal structure. It has a sequence of words and can be encoded as a sequence of spectral vectors spanning the audio frequency range. So the speech signal that we speak can be encoded as a sequence of spectral vectors that is spanning the audio frequency range. The HMM provides a natural framework for constructing such model, because in the initial, I mean, at the beginning only I've told you that this is for every sequence model. HMM is for the sequence models. So there is a natural structure of sequence modeling in the speech recognition system. So therefore we can apply apply this HMM model for the speech recognition. This is the architecture of HMM based recognizer. The input audio waveform, that is what we speak from a microphone, is converted into a sequence of fixed size acoustic vectors. So this is a process of feature extraction. So we have our observation sequences x1 to xn. This we call acoustic vectors. So in the previous model, if you see, we have a sequence of observations, isn't it? Whether a caretaker brought umbrella or not, for sequence of n days. But here we have sequence of n acoustic vectors that we have extracted from the speech signal. So these are the vectors in contrast to the discrete values in the previous case. These are the vectors, continuous valued vectors. X1 is one vector, X2 is another vector, so on. Xn is another vector. These are the feature vectors, acoustic vectors. So this we extract through a process of feature extraction. So we have observation sequence, that is x1 to xn, and the decoder then attempts to find the sequence of words, that is w1 to wl, which is most likely to have generated x. So what we are interested in, sequence of words to generate from the speech. So what would be the most probable sequence of words? Okay, given observations, we have some observations and we would like to determine what is the most probable sequence of words. So that is basically we are interested in finding the most probable sequence of words for a given set of observations. So we are interested in this W cap, that is W cap is argmax of probability of W given X for different word sequences. So you want to find W cap, the sequence of words out of all possible sequences that maximizes this probability. So we would like to extract the best probable sequence of words. So to compare it with the model that we have earlier, that is the weather model, here the sequence of observations are, that is x1 to xn, are sequence of acoustic vectors, whereas in the weather model the sequence of observations are caretaker brought an umbrella or not, true, false, or whatever, the sequence of observations. And sequence of words in this speech recognition system is equivalent to the sequence of states in the weather model. Sequence of states, that is sunny, rainy, cloudy, or whatever. So that is to provide a analogous comparison to the weather prediction model that we have already seen. So words are made of ordered sequence of phenomena, phonemes, like hello can be represented as phoneme H, L-O, E, L, O in the word hello. So this structure can be adequately modeled by left-right hidden Markov models, where each state corresponding to a phoneme. Each phoneme can be considered to produce typical feature values according to a particular probability density, possibly Gaussian probability density. And the observed feature values xi now are d-dimensional vectors and are continuous and no more discrete values, as I have told you. So these observed features, this xi, each xi is a feature vector, acoustic vector, not just a simple discrete value unlike in the previous case. So what are the advantages of this hidden Markov model? Is the underlying theoretical basis in this HMM model is much more sound and elegant and easy to understand. it is easier to implement and analyze. HMM models are very easy to implement. If you have many libraries also, you can directly call the method, just 2-3 lines of code, and you can simply analyze. In Python also, MATLAB also, there are many existing libraries are there. You can just simply call those libraries and predict your future instance. HMM taggers are very simple to train. Just need to compile counts from the training corpus. It performs relatively well, over 90% performance on named entities, especially for the speech recognition systems. They performs well, especially the current speech recognition system. Most of them are HMM based models, and it works pretty well in the sequence models like a pattern recognition. Like suppose if I have already consumed, if I've already watched movies, say for example, if I've already watched movies, also I should talk generally, right? I cannot take Telugu names. Okay, say for example, I have watched already movies 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the probability that I watch movie 5? So in those kind of pattern recognition problems also I can use this. Like intrusion detection, if I have already typed commands XYZ, what is the probability that I would type some command which is intruders for the system? So these kind of various problems can be solved. Or for handwritten character recognition, if I start with some position to write R, so what is the probability that it is R? So these kind of various problems can be solved using hidden Markov models. It incorporates prior knowledge into the architecture with good design. It has also been proved effective for a number of other tasks such as speech recognition, handwritten recognition, and sign language recognition, and various other tasks. And they scale well. Scalability is good for hidden Markov models, since new words can be added without affecting learned hidden Markov models. So these hidden Markov models, whatever the parameters that we are learning or it is given to us, can be updated sequentially without having to learn the whole thing again. So that is, in that way, it is scalable. If you have to learn the whole thing anyway, it takes more time. So therefore, it is not scalable, because you need not have to learn it again. You need not have to work it on again. So it is scalable. Disadvantages: number of parameters to be evaluated is huge, so it needs a large data set for training. Requires huge amount of training in order to obtain a better results. It is not practical to represent multiple overlapping features and long-term dependencies. We are just assuming that the value is depending on the previous state or the just today's observation. So long-term dependencies are not captured in the hidden Markov model. So if some domain, if some application, if it depends on the long-term values, then that cannot be represented using the hidden Markov models. So it adopts the Markov Wien assumption that the emission and the transmission probabilities depend only on the current state, which doesn't map well to many real-world domains. In many real-world domains, it actually, there is a long-term dependency. Say, for example, French people speak what is it? French language. Okay, so there is a dependency in the first word French and the last word French, which will not be captured in the case of hidden Markov model. And these are the references from where I have taken this. Thank you. If you have any doubts, I will take.
Some questions are there in the chat window. Will you
Okay,
please
let's
follow the chat window?
Yeah, time series data is a sequence data, right? So the question is, as HMM is applied for sequence data, can we infer that time series prediction can also be performed by HMM? I think I've already answered this question. Yeah, we can do this. This is time series data only. That what we have discussed also. You can apply it for time series data. What are the other applications of HMM in image processing? So image processing. Image processing, maybe video prediction, that given a sequence of frames, what would be the next frame? Can we say is that HM is a stochastic model? Can we apply this to financial predictions? Yes, you can apply. Any other?
Hello,
Please.
sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon.
Actually, as you told that Markov model is going to be used for the character recognition as well as speech recognition.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it possible to implement in the field of security?
Yeah, people did apply it for uh, security. Like one example that I have mentioned is that suppose if you want to determine intruder based on the sequence of commands that he has typed, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you can detect it, right? Because it is a sequence of commands that makes the intrusion, right? So based on that, you can determine whether he is an intruder or not. If he is typing particular sequence of commands,
The
then he could
intrusion,
be.
intrusion detection system.
So there are many other applications because I'm not from security.
Yeah.
I'm not so much aware of each and everything, but
Sure,
yes, it can be applied for that. Wherever
Okay.
the sequence of things can be applied.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But can we refer with the text summarizer? Is there any correlation? For the text summarization, we use the concept of NLP, but can we relate HMM with the text summarizers? I actually have no idea that what kind of inferences that you make in text summarization. I mean, particularly for the sequence. If you have some relation to the sequence data, then you can definitely apply. How HMMs differ from naive Bayes? Naive Bayes is completely different, right? It based on the naive Bayes is based on the set of features you are determining the probability, isn't it? Here we are not, we're just using the previous day's information, but it is have a relation with the Bayesian networks. It is some special kind of Bayesian network, that is dynamic Bayesian networks we call this hidden Markov models, which we use to design the sequential data. How HMM can be applied to wireless sensor networks? Problem. You have to find that problem. Can we apply HMM model for reservoir operation? See, unless I see the data for this particular problems where other domain people are asking like wireless sensor networks or the reservoir, you can definitely apply, I mean, depending on the problem. So if you have some sequence of things and you want to determine what would happen next, in those kind of problems, definitely you can apply whatever, irrespective of the application. So wherever in whatever application that you would like to apply. So wireless sensor networks, I have no idea. I'm sorry. I mean, what are the other applications of HMM in wireless sensor networks? So I mean, you should look for it, maybe. So now you know the concept, and you have idea about wireless sensor networks or reservoir or whatever. You can look for the problems and solve it using HMM. If somebody have already solved it, you can also look at it. Thank you. Good reference material or link book for hidden market. Thank you.